Hello, it's Erica Gregg, and I am host at the Epic Women podcast. We are dedicated to helping women advance from our professional and career lives to our emotional and health lives. How do we create and produce our most embodied and satisfied life yet? That's what we're going to be talking about with interviews and stories from women who have been there. They've done that and they have lessons and advice so that we can all advance. Please stay tuned to our conversation today and to our social media channels. And I am so excited to start this conversation. It is Erica Gregg, and I am host of the Epic Women podcast. Today, I had an amazing conversation with Enid, and I am so excited to share it today. But before we do that, I wanted to share a little bit more information about Enid's background, why we had her here, why she's so inspirational, and why you should care about this podcast. So let's start with a little bit of background information. So Enid comes from a public speaking background. She's done a lot of public speaking. She is a speaker coach. She worked with Toastmasters International through the ranks there, and also in doing public speaking. She is a leadership and development trainer. She is a confidence coach and the executive producer of the Your Confidence Reconnected podcast. So her goal after leaving corporate America in sales was to focus her attention on dedicating herself to helping women leverage their story to connect with a wider audience. And her goal is to connect 1 million women to ensure that we embrace and share our message with the world. Well, we could not be more supportive of this mission. Women getting and speaking on stage, women not only feeling that their message is heard, but sharing their message on boardrooms, in boardrooms, on stages. And I want to see more women speakers. I want to do more public speaking, and I'm taking a really proactive effort to do that through this podcast. So Enid has been doing that for years, and her presence is a gift. It is so, so awesome. I look forward to this first conversation that we had, and I look forward to continued conversations that we'll have in the future with Enid. And I appreciate her patience, and I appreciate yours as well. Well, I'm trying to figure out pronouncing the name. But in any case, have an epic week, and I'm so glad that you are here again, and I appreciate it. Bye. Enid, I am so excited to have you here today. Enid, you are a seasoned public speaker. You help women enhance their confidence. You are a personality. You have your own podcast. Your mission is to help 1 million women reconnect with their inner superhero. And can we not feel your superhero vibes today and your outfit? You are a confident superhero. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you today about loud women. We've heard in different spaces and places we need to see more women leaders. So I love that you are here with wise words, giving us your vibes, your energy, your confidence. And I'm so excited to have a conversation with you today, Enid.
Me too. Let's get into it. Did you call me? Did you call me the wrong name again?
I did. And
it's okay.
I'm trying.
We'll get it. It's just 4 letters, Erica.
And there's a city in California called Enid.
Enid and Oklahoma, Enid, Oklahoma, and Enid, Mississippi. I just found out.
Really?
Yes, I just found out 2 weeks ago there's an Enid, Mississippi, because I rode through there.
Really?
Yep.
I am just learning about this name. I'm so excited to be encountering different names. So like a name is powerful, and yes. I try so much to get a name right because everybody has their name. They want to be called something that is their name. They don't want to be called something else. So
you're right.
Do my absolute best to try, but I had
just slow down and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I had a friend called Kadeja, and even last week with Kintaji, I have a challenge. It's just a challenge, and you need to keep practicing. So I wanted to get into it. You are a public speaker galore. We met at TEDx Chicago a few months ago, which you were helping to organize. You had this amazing glittery top on, and I saw you and I was like connected with you already across this very big room.
Yeah.
And it was your confidence and it was your energy. And one of the things that we have talked about is your journey to joy. Mm-hmm. So before even, we talk about public speaking and all of that, I was drawn to your energy, and I want us to why do you, tell us, what are the components of your confidence journey? Mm-hmm. And is that related to your joy, your energy? Do you think those two things are connected?
They're totally connected. I have to say that I was not always a positive person. I actually used to be very negative, and I used to complain a lot. And I think I normalized it because I feel like that's how most people are. But what I realized when people that I cared about, like my husband and my mom, would tell me that they didn't like those things about me, it made me really want to figure out why. And I could tell you all the layers that I pulled back. But at the end of the day, the short story is I did not like myself. And most people that are extremely negative are struggling to love who they are. As a person, as a spirit, as an entity, whatever. And once I could look myself in the mirror and not cringe, you'd be surprised how many people can't look themselves in the mirror. And I just forced myself to stare at myself. And I would tell myself things like, Enid, you're beautiful. Enid, you have a nice body. Enid, your skin color is the perfect complexion for you. Like, I just started talking to myself in a way that I would talk to you or somebody that I love. And then I started hugging myself. I know it sounds weird. I started doing these things. And then I felt a shift in my energy. I didn't want to wake up and be negative. Oh, and then also I had to forgive myself, because sometimes when you change, you feel like, who am I to be happy now? I've been negative for 20 years. Like, people are going to tell me I'm a fraud. And I had to get over that. I had to literally look at the past as something that was dead and passed away. And once I could do that, it was like, no, I'm actually a happy person. And when people would try to remind me of who I was or bring me down, I would make a mental note like, okay, I got to probably stay away from this person for a little while. But it forced me to say, like, no, I was like that, but I'm not anymore. And it's a deliberate decision that you make every day. I don't just wake up, sunshine and rainbows. When I first open my eyes, I tell myself today is a good day. I take a deep breath and I'm happy that my lungs are clear because it's COVID. Clear lungs is an easy thing to be grateful for this day and age. And it's a repetitive thing. You do it over and over and over and over. And if you're lucky enough to have people around you, like I said, when you have those human moments and you fall back, they are there. I am like this way more than my husband and my children. But when I fall short, that's when theirs kick in, and it forces me to like, no, Enid, that's not what we're doing. You can't give out good energy if you're unhappy. You're going to give off unhappy energy, and it's contagious. So who do you want to be? Do you want to be a vessel for good energy or bad energy? That's the choice I had to make for myself. And I'd rather use my powers for good and not evil.
Well, when we are also representing, you have a goal of connecting with 1 million women.
Yes.
And when you are a senior leader and you're connecting with so many women, your energy is so important and your mindset is so important. And
Yep.
these two are connected.
Yep.
So that like 30 days of your journey to joy helped you overcome that challenge that you were experiencing, of that grief that you had felt, and helped you move on. I think moving on is key. Letting go is key, but also overcoming grief can be a challenge. I mean, that is the challenge of being the senior leader, is that you're leading a movement, right?
Yeah.
And you need to be able to feel fallible, but you also need to be your best self to lead.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, the 30 days, and just to be clear, that 30 days to joy, the 30-day journey to joy was something that you did for yourself, by yourself. You just went forward, and that was so inspiring to me, because you told me, you were like, yeah, I'm just doing this 30 days of joy. And I was like, and by day 14, you had an issue, a really big challenge.
Yeah.
That you were struggling.
Yeah. And I need to say, I thought it was a Journey to Joy challenge, but it was really just a Journey to Enid challenge, because I learned more about myself. I finally learned about healthy boundaries. We can talk about that later. But there were a lot of things that I connected to happiness when it was really just knowledge of self and need the necessity to become more self-aware. Your world changes once you pull that mirror out. Every time something happens, instead of pointing the finger, you pull out that mirror and you're like, what did I do to affect this? How could I have made this better? And when the bad stuff happens, being like, you know what, that was bad. That was crappy. But did I learn? So was it really crappy? It's a revelation and realization. It's been an amazing experience, but beyond being happy, the knowledge of self was the greatest gift that I was not expecting. I literally just wanted to be like the Dalai Lama at the end of the challenge. I just wanted nothing to affect me. But I learned so much about myself. I could actually write a book just about it's almost like a journey to self-love in addition to happiness. Yeah.
Self-awareness is like an onion. You keep learning more about yourself and you change every single day.
Yep.
But the journey inside is, I think, where the foundation of being a leader is. Yeah. And telling your story and having a story to tell. But, I think what women can learn from you is embracing your story, telling your story, and giving your story on stage to the world and inspiring other women to tell their stories.
Yep.
I think when we embrace our story, we can help other women tell their story. And so, like, if you feel like women maybe feel like they don't have a story to tell on stage. They've never thought about going on stage and being a public speaker and telling their most intimate stories, which can be vulnerable space, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What would you tell women maybe to inspire them to be speakers, to do more public speaking?
Okay, I feel like we're talking about women in different phases of delivering their messages, because when you said get on stage and being vulnerable, some people can't even stand up in like a board meeting. You know what I mean? So getting up on a stage and being vulnerable, it's like, just shoot me now. So for those women that just know they have something to say and just want to find the courage to speak, I would encourage those women to seek out public speaking clubs like I did, like Toastmasters. That, because when I first got started, I knew I had a message, but every time I stood up, my hands would sweat, my underarms would sweat, my hands would shake. I had a message, but I looked afraid, and I wanted to be confident. So for those women who are past that point, they're not so afraid to get up and speak. I would okay, so let me tell you a story, because that's easier. When you feel like you have something to say, your brain will tell you nobody wants to hear that. Nobody cares. And then you see other speakers, oh, their story is more compelling. Nothing really traumatic happened to me that bad, but at the end of the day, when I started sharing and being vulnerable, what I realized is most people go through the same things. There's just different, different aspects of it, but we all are afraid to do certain things. We all wonder if people care about what we have to say. We wonder if we look right or if we sound right. And I would just say, is the message, how important is the message? I know that what I have to share is way more important than my outward appearance. And if you are the kind of person that's so hung up on all of this, then you're not my person. So what would I say to someone? I would say that your message is valuable. Regardless, I haven't even heard your message. It's valuable. If it was placed on your heart, then it was placed there for you to share with someone else. And then I would just say, your circle of influence matters. I hang around phenomenal, epic women, and it's funny, when you level up and you level up your circle, the conversations change, the energy changes. You wouldn't even feel right coming around me with wrong energy. And it's the same way with me. Like if I know I have a call with Erica, I better perk up. and so I would just say, assess your surroundings. Is it time to level up? Sometimes we know it's time to level up and we stay comfortable. Because leveling up means discomfort. If I told you that becoming a better speaker means you're going to have to stop talking to certain people, because I talk a lot about positivity and love and happiness. So I can't really talk to people who want to tell me about all the latest crime happening in Chicago or how bad things are in the economy. You know what I mean? So, there's nothing to it but to do it. Practice makes perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes progress, but it's extremely uncomfortable. And pushing through, like you said earlier, even when it's uncomfortable. There's no easy answer to being more confident. It's extremely uncomfortable. But I believe that any person listening to this podcast is totally capable of doing it.
It's absolutely true. We're all capable of growing and learning and elevating, and but I guess the thing is, what do you want to do first? And maybe doing it step by step as well. Coming from somebody who has maybe ADHD leanings, knowing what to do first and having your priority is also very important, right?
Yes.
But the next best step, really, it's the next best step of what else can I do to grow and learn? And like we talked about at the beginning, changing your mindset, being more joyful and reaching for that next joyful experience. Leveling up is definitely a challenge. It's definitely painful, but moving into
It's necessary.
2023, you get challenged, you grow, or you die. And
Yep.
that's what it is. You know what
Yep.
I mean? So, I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting. There's always opportunity. There's always
Yeah.
opportunity.
And I believe there is a phrase, a quote. It says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I truly believe that. And if as soon as I decided I was ready to speak, I ended up at the right Toast. And I visited several Toastmasters clubs, just so you know. Funny story, true story. I don't know if I told you this. There was a club I went to called Viewmasters in the Sears Tower. They're very straight laced. They're one of the last few organizations where the men still wear suits and ties. You don't see a lot of that in corporate America anymore. And I went in there on a Friday. We had casual Friday, so I had a jogging suit on, and you could hear the record stop when I walked in. It was just kind of like, and everybody was so good. And you know how I am. I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Everybody speaks like Oprah and Barack Obama. And I told the lady, Amy Sagami, who was the president, I was like, I want to join this club. And she sent me an email and she's like, I think you should visit other clubs. And I was so offended. I was so offended. And I visited other clubs. I found the club that was for me. And the rest is history. Here we are today. I bumped into Amy Sagami at the TEDx event where I met you. And she didn't remember me. And I thanked her. But I told her, I said, you know, you kind of hurt my feelings when you told me to go elsewhere. But her telling me that put me in the club I was supposed to go in. I ended up becoming the president. I became an area director. Like I said, here we are today, and I'm coaching speakers at TEDx Chicago. But it was doing something uncomfortable. It was extremely uncomfortable going into that room with those people who I felt super imposter syndrome. That's another reason why women have to speak. We have to get past this belief that we don't belong because of whatever. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey, but you have to put one foot in front. Me and you can talk and give people the tools all day long, but people have to pick up the tools and use them, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like we were saying before offline, you need to be able and ready to pick up the tools. You need to want that and be keen to make that happen.
Yep.
And you know, we can see from numbers, women are keen. They want to advance and they want to be in a space that works for them.
Yep.
You know, and you know, I mean, Great Resignation. We're looking to advance, and if we don't have that opportunity at this company, for example, we will leave.
Mm-hmm.
We will move towards things that advance us on a whole. And you know, I think, but having knowledge that's organized in a specific format,
yes,
like a framework or that is super helpful as well. Because sometimes we offer information that just we can't necessarily use.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I think what you're saying around learning based on what's not working is powerful, and saying, okay, this is not working. This is not working. This is not working. It's not okay. Let's do something else. You know what I mean? That is a very important lesson that we can learn. Not to get stuck down in that. The whole journey of joy. It is an opportunity to grow when things are challenging, when you are in a very weak, vulnerable spot. Mm-hmm. And that's what you were talking about with Amy Sagami, and Amy is an awesome lady. So I think that there's just so many different lessons. Now, when you are on the uptick with, I love that Toastmasters organization. Yes, it's so super valuable. When you were on the uptick with that organization, mm-hmm. What did you find was helpful in empowering people to speak publicly?
The greatest thing about Toastmasters is the feedback. That's the greatest thing ever. When you're new to it, it can feel like criticism. and criticism can hurt if you're a sensitive person. I'm extremely sensitive, and it was hard. But when I realized most Toastmasters, and I'm willing to say 99% of Toastmasters really want you to win. When I realized that these people really wanted to see me win, it was just kind of like, okay, give me all the feedback. I love when I speak in front of seasoned speakers and they give me feedback that I feel is rookie feedback. I like it because it's like, I'm gonna show you next time. You know what I mean? Like, you gonna eat those words. But it's by far the feedback. If people can just take that, if you can look at your ego like a robe that you can literally take off and look at what people have to say, even when it does feel like criticism, if you can just think to yourself, why am I hearing this? Regardless of what they mean for me to hear, what is the lesson, that source, God, the universe, because everything happens on purpose for a purpose. So it's like, what is the deeper lesson? So the biggest help Toastmasters has been feedback. The second is the network, because it's just the most amazing people go to Toastmasters. It's just great, but the feedback is so important, and I can't talk about Toastmasters enough when it comes to that feedback. It's so important.
Feedback is important for every area of our life, every area.
Yep.
That learning to be able to accept and provide and create open environments for feedback.
Yep.
Especially like you're talking about, from those who have learned, who know whether, I mean, of course, beginners can also offer knowledge, different kinds of knowledge, but
yes,
you're talking about the difference between a seasoned speaker and a newbie speaker.
Mm-hmm.
We're all of us are gaining our skills in certain areas or another. And in storytelling, there's so many different elements to storytelling. It's like a body, the human body, storytelling. There is, you know, you have the dip, you have the hero's journey, you have strategy, skill, tactics.
Yep.
Love it. That we can always be improving, right? But that feedback from people who are knowledgeable, that can definitely, I'm hearing that, and that makes so much sense.
And something else I feel like I should say, Toastmasters, even though it's recreational, it's set up like a corporate business. So let's say you're a secretary, but you want to be a leader, but your company is not giving you an opportunity. There are leadership opportunities in Toastmasters. I told you my last role, I was an area director, and I had people reporting to me. I had to go and check on clubs. So it's great. I'm just a firm believer that if life is not how you like it, you can change it. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you your next opportunity. I wanted to train. Nobody would hire me as a trainer. So I started uploading training videos on the internet. It's like we literally live in a day and age where nobody can stop you from doing anything. Now, people always say, well, Enid, you can't play for the NBA. Maybe not, but I could create an organization called NBAA, and I could put a uniform. You know what I mean? I'm just like, no, nothing can stop you if it's really what you want. And if women want to speak and they're not getting the opportunities, Toastmasters is a great place to start. The internet, LinkedIn is a great place to upload videos, and just you don't get comfortable speaking on stage. I'm going to keep reiterating it. You don't get comfortable without keep doing it. And you have to do it, because what we are learning is that women have so much to say, and not just that we have stuff to say, we have valuable things to say. And I feel like with the shift happening with the male to female dynamic in the world, this is the perfect time for us to just kick the door down and say, okay, here we are. Give us our mics. We got something to say.
Yes. It was the founder of Pachamama, Leonette, who said, humanity is really like a bird, and the male aspect is like the one wing of the bird that's been very powerful and going in circles. And so when you have the feminine wing of this bird, you can finally fly towards something that's, beneficial, useful, holistic, balanced, versus having something. And the rise of women is now just so important that we have balance, because so often we just hear from the male perspective.
Yep.
And hearing from women is so powerful because we get to hear a message from a woman's perspective, from a woman's voice, with a woman's stories. And we don't understand how beneficial and how useful that is. But to do it, we need to start talking. And we need to start talking in so many different spaces. I think you're right. Women can't necessarily go on stage and that be the first thing that they do. They need to speak up at meetings.
Yep.
Practice that you can do to speak up for yourself in so many different circumstances and situations.
Yeah.
How else do you think confidence impacts women's careers, not just in public speaking? How do you think this plays out in women's lives, women's careers, do you think?
Well, I can only speak from my perspective. I have seen some amazing women do some amazing things, but unfortunately, I have been in male-dominated industries, and if there was a woman at the top, there was only one. As a matter of fact, this most recent corporate job I had, I was there for 7 years. There was only ever one woman at the top. Wow. And this was in the last 2 to 3 years. She's still there. She's good. She's really good. But it was disheartening. So for me, I used to feel, and I need to say this is a white male dominated. It was sales and it was white male dominated. So I would be in these rooms, and at first people would overtalk me. Like, have you ever started a sentence and someone finish it for you, but it's wrong? It's not even mansplaining. It's kind of like where they cut you off and try to answer you, but it's the wrong thing. And so finally, I got to a point where I could confidently say, no, that's not what I was, and the first time I did that, I got home and I had 4 different guys had looked me up on LinkedIn. And I remember asking my mom, like, what is that about? She's like, they're checking you out. Maybe no one's ever spoken up. And then someone tried to steal $20,000 deal from me. And that's when I was like, that's when I heard sales is dog eat dog. And you're going to have to be sneaky and slithering if you want to succeed in this industry. And I was just like, no, I'm going to be the first nice sales rep ever to succeed at this company. You are not going to take my $20,000. We had to have, basically, because I stood up for myself, I had to have a whole board meeting. And then after that, I spoke up more often. Then guess what I started doing? I started standing up when I would speak up in a meeting. So nobody else is doing that. And it's extremely uncomfortable, but it's setting me apart, but it's also building my confidence. It's like, Enid, you're a leader. I used to shy away from that when people would say that to me, but it's all about knowing who you are, Erica. You have to know who you are if you're going to be confident at work. You got to know what you stand. Like, so many years I didn't know who I was. And once I figured it out, nobody could tell me anything. I mean, I was always respectful, but it's like the same BS is just not going to fly just because that's how it's always been. It's like, well, that's not how it's going to go anymore. And sometimes you run into some resistance, but for the most part, the higher ups, they respected me for it. And yeah, but that imposter syndrome was real, and it was real for a good 2 to 3 years, just feeling like, oh, I don't want to ask this question. Like, they're going to think I'm stupid. I should know this already. Those things that, oh, I should probably know this. And then finally just asking that dumb question. And then asking other questions that people might think are dumb. And one time a VP had said a comment. He's like, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody understands what I'm saying, right? And I raised my hand. I said, I don't, but we could talk about it offline. And we did. but I'm sure I wasn't the only person who didn't understand what he was talking about, and we as women, we just have to, they're just men. If you're there, you're supposed to be there. And if you don't know, you have a right to ask. I feel like I'm talking too much. Am I, Erica?
No, well, first of all, I wanted to end that sentence with a pause because that's so powerful. Because I get a lot of women who we have a conversation and they say, you are confident. And I know that it's because of the challenge that I faced. It happened little by little. And from what I'm hearing from you, it's the same. It is years in the making. Of course, you can do actions and practice to get you closer and especially in different circumstances, in different situations. But it really is little by little.
Yep.
And speaking up for yourself is across genders. Anybody and everybody having the courage to speak up for themselves is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to see it.
Yes.
And if we're doing something that we haven't seen, that is superhero level experience. So
yes.
It's exciting to hear about women like you, like me, like us, having the courage to speak up for ourselves and to grow into the best person that we absolutely can become through inspiration from women who have succeeded. I mean, this is the holy grail. If you can learn from ladies who've done it, who've been there, take on that advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's taken so long for us to develop these skills, It
did not happen overnight.
No.
And then there are those women that don't struggle with confidence. And I tell people, like, those women have other things. You know what I mean? They have other stuff, but for those women that struggle with confidence, it starts with mindset. And some of us need therapy to get to the bottom of that, and yes. Some of us, like me, and I've been to therapy, but certain concepts, I just need the lights turned on. You know what I mean?
Doing. It's the doing of it that is the crucial, that's the key, Yes, therapy was super useful, but it's the practice of it that is courageous. That is where we find the courage of it. And going and speaking on stages and speaking on bigger stages and bigger stages, you gain confidence. Speaking in front of one person, a few people, that's a great place to start, right? And Toastmasters and practicing speaking up for ourselves and embracing ourselves. Enid, did I do it wrong? Did I do it right this time, Enid? Is speaking up for ourselves and being ourselves loudly. This is what is so inspirational about awesome and epic women, is speaking up for yourself and being yourself.
Yes.
I think it is being able to be respected for being yourself is that ultimately, more than money, more than any other thing. I feel like if you're on your deathbed and you're like, I had all the things, but I wasn't myself, I was living somebody else's life, it would be kind of worthless, wouldn't it?
Yes. I told, I don't even know who I was talking to, but I was like, I realized one day I wasn't even Enid. I was a walking version of my mom and my dad, walking around with their beliefs, their opinions. I actually disagree with a lot of things that they believe. When I sit and think about it, it's like, I don't agree with that. Why am I doing it? Because they did it. Well, I want to be me today. And so I had to go back to my kids, and now I'm reprogramming them because I don't want them to be little Enids. I want them to be them, So it was a lesson, but I'm enjoying
intergenerational lesson.
Yes.
You're talking about power from your grandparents and your great grandparents and being able to let it go. That is and being yourself, being able to, I think that's
it's mind blowing. It is. And that's a whole nother talk show, because as you can imagine, the people they're struggling with this. And it's like, I know this is how we've done things, but I'm not doing it that way anymore. And I'm teaching my kids, sorry, I'm not sorry.
Well, I mean, it's exciting to hear. It's exciting to hear about all the awesome work that you are doing, and to know that you're being yourself. Like, you're being yourself so loudly, and you have this purpose and mission of helping women gain confidence, and helping women get women on stage. When they are on stage, ensuring that their message is crisp and clear.
Yes.
Oh my God, the practice of that. And I want to see more women on stage.
Me too.
I love when I see women speakers, and at TEDx Chicago, they had amazing speakers. But just women in the feminine, just hearing a message from women, I definitely receive it in a different way.
Yeah.
To be honest. And so, yeah, I think there's just so much power in that. I'm so excited that we got to speak Enid.
Me too.
I still can't say your name right.
It's okay, Erica. You still have a place in my heart, okay?
I have to just do some practice.
It's okay.
Done. I want it. You know what I mean? I want it so bad.
You're like the only person that can get it wrong this many times, and I'm still like, it's okay, Erica. I know your heart. I know your heart.
You know what? I think. See, here's the thing. Everybody grows, and we grow into skills. I feel like we can probably grow into a new skill. This is a skill I want to grow into in 2020. Is to have more flexibility around pronunciation. So, in any case, I feel like we need to have another conversation.
I think so too.
I've learned so much, and we really need to have another conversation.
We can do a part 2.
Yes, women can absolutely learn so much from you, from your story. Where can women find you online?
Currently, I am on LinkedIn,
Okay.
Enid Kent, and I'm on Instagram, EK_confidence. And on Instagram, I like to post inspirational videos for the most part. And on LinkedIn, I'm gonna start doing videos on LinkedIn, because I don't see a lot of that. And we want more women to share their message. How can I ask them to share if I'm not out here sharing?
You know what? Video is so powerful, and more conversations. I cannot wait to participate in your podcast. I want to get a conversation.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. There are so many women also doing so much epic content, amazing women. So going to be sharing your LinkedIn messages, your LinkedIn content. I love it.
Thank you, Erica.
We absolutely need to keep sharing. I'm going to keep sharing.
Yes.
I'm actually going to do that. Content marketing is one of the things that I'm like, oh my God, in 2023, I'm finally going to get on it, because but I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to share this video and keep having these conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Yes, we're absolutely going to be in touch. And sending you so much love.
You too, Erica. Thank you.
Thank you.